So this is the axon, and this carries information away from the neuron. So these are our axon terminals, which are the end of the axon, and they contain the vesicles at the top. So the gummy worms are the dendrites, and those are what receives messages and conducts impulses towards the cell. And then the dendrite spines are all the nerds on the side of the dendrites, and they serve as a storage site for synaptic strength and transmit electrical signals.
This is the soma, and it's the part of the neuron that contains the nucleus, and it's also the cell body.
Yeah.
The lifesaver is the nucleus, which directs the manufacture of substances that the neuron needs for growth and maintenance. These lifesavers are the myelin sheaths, and they're a layer of fatty tissue that insulates axons and increases the velocity of conduction of the action potential along the axon. These bits of Twizzlers are the neurotransmitters, and they're chemical substances that transmit information across the synaptic gap to the next neuron.
So the nodes of Rovier are gaps in the myelin, and it's where the sodium-potassium pumps are located. So the synapse right here is the tiny gap that causes the neurons to never touch. So the synaptic vesicles are the blue skittles, and that's where chemicals are stored called transmitters. So this whole side is the presynaptic neuron, and it is what delivers the message, and then this side is the postsynaptic, and that's what receives the message.
So an action potential is basically a positive charge that travels down the axon, and it could also be a sequence of shifts in an electrical charge of a neuron. And the action potential, it also follows the principle of all or nothing, which is basically when an electrical impulse reaches a certain level of intensity, and it fires and moves all the way down the axon without losing that intensity.
Depolarization is when the action potential causes the neuron's voltage to increase, and when that's traveling along, the ion channels in the nodes of Ranvier open up, causing potassium to flow out of the neuron and sodium ions to flow in, furthering the action potential.
Resting potential is the resting state of a neuron when it is not transmitting information. Once the message has been received, the neurotransmitters are released from the receptor sites and reabsorbed into the terminal buttons of the sending neuron in a process called reuptake.